was a good thing.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. We just completed a meeting of the Unified Command Group, and I have earlier this morning personally spoken with just about every parish president along coastal Louisiana and a few of the sheriffs as well, and I've been in close contact with Lieutenant Governor Nungesser, who is down in Plaquemines Parish. Tony Robinson from FEMA, who is the administrator of Region 6, continues to be with us, and he's here today, and I want to thank him for that. And Congressman Graves was able to join us for the UCG meeting, and he's here with us, and I thank him as well. As you all know, Barry is now a hurricane. The guessing game is over. It made landfall as a hurricane with 75-mile-per-hour winds. It is easing onshore slowly at 6 miles per hour. That's one of the challenges with this storm. We would like for it to pick up pace a little bit, and so that it would move through the area a little quicker. It is expected to move up the center of the state, exit somewhere on the Louisiana Arkansas border, and again, the quicker it could do that, the better. The track did shift slightly to the west. However, it is well within the cone that we were told to expect from the National Weather Service, and so there were no real surprises there. Rainfall remains the primary hazard. We are still looking at 10 to 15 inches of rain with the possibility of higher isolated amounts. As we all know, however, it doesn't take much saturation of the ground so that even slighter winds can have a devastating impact with respect to trees falling onto houses and highways and so forth, as well as utility poles. And so power outages will be significant, and in fact are already significant in some areas of the state. And while rainfall remains the #1 threat, we're also experiencing storm surge flooding that will continue throughout the day. Tropical storm force winds will also likely impact much of the southern part of the state. In fact, if you look at it, they're going to extend from Cameron Parish in the west over to Lake Pontchartrain in the east, and now well north of Alexandria as the storm continues to move north. Anytime you have a storm like this, there is a possibility of tornadoes, and so we ask people to be very careful with that. We are keeping a close eye on the rivers across South Louisiana, all the way from the Mermentau in the west to the Tangipahoa River in the east, and actually even further than that. But with particular eyes upon the Comeet and Amite rivers here in the capital region, based upon regional experience that we had in 2016, we do expect the Comeet to crest very close to, if not slightly higher than, the crest in August of 2016. That is obviously not good news here. We expect the Amite to crest right around the crest of the 1983 flood levels. Now, that's a little better than in 2016, but still a very serious flood threat. Some good news is that the gauge at the Carrollton gauge, I should say, of the Mississippi River in New Orleans is now expected to crest at 17.1 feet. As you know, as of yesterday, we were expecting that crest to be 19 feet. Even at 19 feet, we didn't anticipate river overtopping the levees anywhere. We can say now that the rivers will certainly not overtop the levee anywhere on the Mississippi. The U.S. Coast Guard did rescue 11 people from their flooded homes in Ile de Jean Charles this morning in the lower portion of Terrebonne Parish. That area is outside the hurricane protection system of Terrebonne and was under a voluntary evacuation order. And I want to pause to thank the Coast Guard for doing that. Incredibly important that those services were available, and they have the expertise and the equipment to be able to make those rescues, even by air, during the period of the storm when most other air assets are not able to fly. And so that's another federal resource that has been brought to bear here in the state of Louisiana to protect life, and that's critically important. I do want to clear up a little misinformation that's been going around The overtopping that has occurred in Plaquemines Parish is not the Mississippi River levee. It is a back levee in the vicinity of Myrtle Grove, and it points further south. At this point, Highway 23 in Plaquemines Parish has not been overtopped. It has not been closed, but that is certainly possible going forward. And this validates, I believe, the decision that President Kirk Lapine made to have a mandatory evacuation in the lower portion of Plaquemines Parish. We actually anticipated that the back levee would be overtopped, and so we are not surprised by what has happened. But what everyone should understand, no Mississippi River levee has been overtopped, and not a single levee in the state of Louisiana as of right now has failed or breached. Finally, I want to share with everyone that if you are in need of a shelter, you can text LA Shelter to 898-211, or you can call 211 to find a list of shelters that are open in your area. Again, text LA Shelter, that's all one word, LA Shelter, to 898-211 or call 211. I also want to caution everybody, this is just the beginning. I ask everyone to stay vigilant and be safe. This has always been projected to be a rain flood event, and it will be. The vast majority of the rain that's falling right now is falling in the Gulf. That will soon change as the storm continues to move north. We have planned, we have prepared, we have stationed folks. We've activated 3,000 members of the National Guard. We have pre-positioned assets, including buses and pumps. Shelters are open, and more are opening around the state. We need you to continue to stay in touch with the news sources. Heed the advice of local elected officials. Do not attempt to go sightseeing. That is very dangerous for you, but the real problem with that is you make it much more likely if you venture out too soon, and when it's not necessary for you to do so, our emergency response people are going to have to be trying to rescue those sightseers and not be able to focus solely on those individuals who need rescuing because of the flood. And so be patient. If you are driving and you don't know for an absolute fact that standing water is safe to proceed through, don't do it. Turn around and go back. That is the source of most fatalities in floods, at least here in Louisiana over the last several years. The other problem with that is often there is a current, and it's imperceptible in many cases, and it doesn't take much current to wash a car or a truck off the road or highway into a ditch or a stream, and individuals drown. You can find real-time information on all roadways in the state by visiting 511la.org. It will indicate whether the road is under construction, whether there is water over the road, whether the road has been closed. Be patient as it relates to cleanup activities too. Don't get out before it is safe to do so. And when you get out to clean up, understand that any wire on the ground should be presumed to be energized. Do not handle or expose yourself to the danger of any electricity lines. So it's going to be a long several days for our state. I know the people of Louisiana are strong and resilient, and I can assure you we are going to get through this, but there are going to be some significant challenges. The next UCG meeting is scheduled for 4 p.m. tomorrow. However, we may, and I suspect we likely will, have another press availability before that UCG meeting is over. I expect there may be another one tonight with information that we continue to learn, both as it relates to the storm and to the damage that we're seeing across the state of Louisiana. And I would invite everyone to continue to put themselves and their families in a better position to withstand the remaining portions of this storm as it plays out over the next few days, and to continue to join their prayers to mine for our state. Now, at this time, I'm going to be followed with more specific information from the following individuals and in this order. CPRA Chairman Chip Klein will be followed by Secretary Sean Wilson of DOTD. Secretary Marquita Walters of DCFS will next brief on the status of shelters. She'll be followed by Secretary Gee of the Department of Health. General Curtis of the National Guard will speak after Secretary Gee, and then Congressman Garrett Graves will speak after General Curtis. The other individuals who are here do not anticipate speaking. However, we will all be available to answer questions that you may have once the comments are delivered and Congressman Graves concludes his remarks. So at this point, if you'll come on up, Chip.